What's up, everybody? Back again with another video. So, why I don't use debit cards. First of all, I'm sure we all know what a debit card is, right? A debit card, if you got a bank account, checking account, you know, they issue a card. And then when you go to the store, you use your card, right? You use your card to make a transaction. It debits the money straight from your checking account, straight from the bank, right? So, keep that in mind, because when that happens, the bank know, everybody know, you know, where you shopped at. They don't necessarily know what you bought, but if you was online shopping, they know where you shopped at, right? Which is a good thing, right? You want to know where your debit card is being used. But moving forward, let's say, you know, once you decide to move on from being a W-2 employee, or let's say you started a small business, or you're an entrepreneur and now you make your own money, right? You work for yourself basically. So anytime you decide to go purchase something, if you're going to go purchase a new car, a house, some property or whatever, it's only 1 to 2 ways that they can prove your income. And that's going to be your bank statements and, of course, your tax returns, right? So what does that mean? That means that, let's say you go to purchase something and they request a copy of your bank records. What you don't want on your bank records is everywhere you've been shopping, right? So yeah, you want to have multiple accounts. They say you got a bank account for this, for your income, and you got a bank account for your bills and your transactions and all that stuff. That will work too, but I like to have all my bank accounts clean. Only thing my bank accounts show is direct deposits, payments to either, you know, mortgage. If you have a car payment, that will come out of that, which I don't have any car payments, but my truck payment, credit card payments. Those should be the only things being debited from a checking account. Every other expense that you make should be used and coming from a credit card. And the reason why you want to come from a credit card is because a credit card is a good way to track all your history when it comes to expenses and payments that you made out. And your bank account is a good way to show how much money you had coming in and how much money you paid out for as debt to income circumstances, right? So that's why I don't use debit cards at all. Because if my bank statements get requested, you know, they're not going to find anything on there. And for those of you who like to, let's say, shop at places you don't want nobody to know you shopping, you don't want, you know, to give up your bank statements because you're trying to purchase something and you're using it as income or proof of income, and then they go in there and see that, you know, you've been to the liquor store 5 and 6 times a week, you know, you got Pornhub transactions or whatever the case may be. You don't want that to be seen, right? So what they're not going to request is your credit card statements, because it's no money going into the credit card, if that makes sense. You don't have direct deposit going to credit cards. So credit cards is only going to show, you know, expenses, stuff you bought and stuff like that. So they're not even going to request those type of documents or statements. They're going to request your bank statements, and you want to have your bank statements clean. I like to have all of my bank records clean. That way, if I do have to provide them, you know, 3 months, 6 months or whatever, they can see nothing but direct deposits and, you know, my expenses that shows up on my credit report as well. So most of the time, the things that's going to be on your bank records, like if you have a house or a car, or your credit card payments, those are going to reflect. They're going to be able to see, okay, he paid for his house, he paid for his car, he paid for his credit card payments, and those things are on his credit report. So that's all they will see. That's why you want to have your bank accounts clean, and that's why I only use credit cards. So to speak to those that are really against credit cards and they feel like you're going to get into debt with them, which you can go into debt with credit cards, but you have to use them responsibly. And I feel like if you're going to have a successful business, you're going to need to know, and you're going to need to have the discipline to use your credit, to leverage your business, and use them responsibly. So I don't recommend, if you do use your credit cards, when you're using your credit cards for everything, what I tend to do is, as soon as the transaction posts, I pay the money right back. Mind you, keep in mind, I'm not spending anything on my credit card that I wasn't going to use my bank account or my debit card for anyway. So if the cable bill was due, or if my car insurance was due, and I was going to pay it with my bank account, I use the credit card and I just pay it right back. If I was going to get something to eat, I use it on a credit card and I pay it right back. That was money that I was going to use anyway. You get what I'm saying? And then by me doing that with cash reward cards, I get a little bit something back for that. So I recommend, at least at the bare minimum, when you do your credit card transactions, is to make whatever you spent that week, when you get your paycheck or you get some money coming in or you get a deposit, make sure you pay the card back to zero. That's what I recommend. Now, if you have the discipline to wait to the credit statement, which I don't recommend because it will post to your credit card statement. If that posts that you have a balance, then that's going to report to your credit report. Whatever the statement whatever the balance is when the statement ends, that's what's going to report to your credit report, and you want that to be zero. So if the statement closed on the 5th, then you want the balance to be zero by the time the 5th comes. If not, it's going to show and reflect on your credit report that, you know, you have $500 balance on your credit card. I recommend, just so you don't let it get out of control, is go ahead and making the payment once the transactions post. So this is how you use your credit cards responsibly, and by using them this way, you're going to increase your credit limit, which in return is going to make your credit score higher, which in return will let you start a business, which in return will give you a higher credit score, which in return will let you be able to leverage credit to get anything you want. So that's why it is so important that, you know, you follow the right things and the right steps to put yourself in a better position to be whatever that you want to be. But as for me, that's why I make these videos, because I feel like, you know, a lot of us, especially me in particular, I've been there. I've had my credit cards, I maxed them out, right? And I've seen what it done to my credit score. So I know that I don't want to. Now I'm kind of obsessed with like my credit card balances being zero now. Another tip too. So for example, let's say you got a balance on your credit card already. It's $1,000 or $500. Let's say you have a $500 balance on your credit card right now, right? Now, keep in mind though, you do have to have the flexibility of a credit limit. So if you already at $500 and you only have an $800 credit limit, then this is going to be kind of tight. But let's say you have a $2,000 limit and you know you already at $500 or $800. Now what you can do, you can easily skip a payment, because what I would do is you would get some gas, get something to eat, or get whatever you would normally get, pay your light bill or whatever, and then make that payment to the credit card. That is going to count as a payment. So that's why you should never have a credit card payment either, because like any payment that you make towards the credit card, whether you have a balance or not, count as a credit card payment. To clarify that, let's say I have a $500 balance on my credit card, right? And I don't have the money to pay the $500 right now. But you know, the minimum payment on that is $50 that is due. Right? If you can't make the $50 because you got to pay your light bill, you can easily pay the light bill with the credit card, right? Let's say your light bill was $100. You pay the light bill with the credit card, and then you take that $100 that you was going to pay your light bill with, and you pay it to the credit card. And that automatically counts as a payment for your credit card as well, and you got your light bill paid. So that's how you can skip the payment going forward. But keep in mind though, you do need to make those extra payments because the balance will stay the same. So you're going to have to, you know, do what you can to get the balances down. So when it came to me, I did everything. I just made sure that making my credit card payments every time I got paid, every time I got some money, I applied it on the credit card. I applied it on the credit card until I don't have credit card balances, because now I like my credit card balances to be zero, because I don't use it if I don't have the money. If I don't have the money to buy whatever I'm going to buy anyway, then I won't just put it on a credit card, because I know that I have a credit limit. You know, that takes discipline, and I understand that, but that's just where I'm at. If I don't have the money to buy whatever that I want at the time, I won't just put it on a credit card and just hope I get the money back to make that payment on that card. I won't buy it. I only use my credit cards, because I don't use debit cards. I only use my credit cards to purchase things that I was going to buy anyway. And that's how you use credit card responsibly, okay? So, hope the video was helpful. Like, share, subscribe. Until next time, see you in the next video.